Hey, welcome everybody to Bridging the Seen and Unseen. I am your host. I am Shane McLain, and this is the wonderful Gwen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Not going to complain one bit. My wife is right there and can't have it. She won't take it.
That's right. She's so sweet.
Yeah, she is, but she's a little feisty now. I mean, we can,
Hey.
she's when I married my wife, I'm like, okay, I'm only about 5'7", so my wife, is 5'1", 110 pounds on a good day. And I'm like, she can't be that bad. Shoot.
She's a mess. I love her.
Shoot. Look here. Look, I've dealt with some pretty big and bad people in my life, but Gwen, I would rather sandpaper a rattlesnake's butt than deal with my wife.
Oh my goodness. You're so
That's
funny.
a fact. But I'm excited about tonight. I love talking about these topics, and this guest we were supposed to meet before, and I am blessed to be able to have her on, and I'm excited to hear from her. So let's bring the Gypsy healing art herself, Alishah Radford.
Hey.
Hey, thank you for coming on.
Yes,
Thank you guys for having me. I'm stoked.
Absolutely. We usually start out it's a real casual show. But we usually start out by I get you to tell everybody who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Alishah Radford. I am the soul and power behind Appalachia Gypsy Healing Arts and
Gremlins.
Appalachia Lightworker Paranormal. I was saying it earlier, I believe my mission on this earth is to bring light and love and healing to souls, whether those souls are attached to a body or not. For me, it's all about energy and learning to bring that energy to a healing space. And that's what I do every day. And I'm excited about what I do. I love talking about it. And I love hearing what others do on their journey and collaborating in that. So I'm excited to be here tonight and get to talk to you guys about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so good to have you here. When people say light worker, I've heard several things. Would you mind explaining exactly what light work means?
So light worker to me means that I'm able to bring the light into the situation, and meaning, yes, I'm intuitive and I have the ability to read the room, and I'm able. So the opposite of light worker is manipulation. So using manipulation to switch the energy. Light worker comes in and is spreading love and light into the situation to guide the energy to a place of healing and compassion and understanding and grace and things like that. So it's the energy behind the person. Light worker means that I hold ceremony space for people to heal, but it's about bringing the light, again, about bringing light and love and healing to the situation.
Have you ever dealt with someone to where like it's not the fact that they didn't have light, but maybe their energy was something that you couldn't handle?
Um, Yeah, I mean, I'm not a person. I'm not a person. I
Okay.
have been in the situation with a soul that was a heavier negative soul. Not negative. I hate using that word. He was heavier, and he and life had hurt women, and he did not like me coming into the room. And that I actually talked about that on my Facebook and YouTube page a couple weeks ago. But he came at me, and in that time and space, I was not able to protect myself, and I left and was down for like 3 days after that. But that situation taught me a lot, and that was one of the situations of be aware of who you're with and what their intentions of the situation is, who you're investigating with, who you're going into those situations are. Be very picky and choosy um, because if their intentions are not as clear and coming from a place of compassion and understanding, that can make souls like that need help in healing come more across more aggressively. I also, that taught me a lot more about ways of making sure that I put protection in place for myself. So I always say, even though it was something heavy and something negative in the moment, I learned from it, and it's helped me as a light worker, as an investigator. It's helped me be more prepared going into the situation.
Wow. So do you think it had something to do with the people that were around you, or did it have something to do with the spirit itself?
I think it was multi-layered. I think it had to do with the investigative team that I was working with, and then I also think um, it illuminated things inside of me that I hadn't healed because I in the past I've been a victim in a situation that he was a perpetrator in. Does that make sense? So he attacked women and hurt them, and I had been in a similar situation. And
Oh,
so for me personally, him and I came face to face. And because of the people that I was around, I didn't feel safe. Versus, I need to have Pete, when I go into those situations, I make sure the people around me, I feel safe with them. So that when I am met with energy like that, I can stand up and be like, no, you can't show me these things that you did to women and it bothered me, and be able to help him, that soul, versus me being stuck in my place of victimhood. Does that make sense?
absolutely, absolutely. And everybody that's on listening tonight, listen to that, because that's so very important. Because it does matter who you allow into your circle, into your investigations, into your environments. Because you don't know what you're going into in some of these locations, and if you allow them to bring in negativity into your light balance that you have going, it can not only affect you, but it can affect every single person that's around you too.
It's very
And I
true.
think it's so very important. Thank you for sharing that with us.
No problem.
So, what part of Appalachia are you from?
I am from the most western point in North Carolina that you can go. Everybody thinks Asheville's the west, but no, we're 2 hours from that. And Murphy, North Carolina. So that is where I'm from. I'm actually living in East Tennessee now, but I am from the mountains of Murphy, North Carolina, and part of my family is from West Virginia. So
Hey, I used to live in East Tennessee too,
yeah,
in
Wait,
Kingsport.
okay, yeah, I'm in Oak Ridge.
Okay. Yeah, you're not too far. Not too far. And I'm telling you, that's some of the most beautiful areas. And some say that the Appalachian Mountains are the oldest known land in the United States, period.
Hmm.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Karen is saying that there's an echo. Has Angie got the phone on in the room? Maybe it's echoing or something.
That's my mom. That's my mom. I think she does have her phone on, but we're completely separated.
I hear it a little bit, but I'm sorry, Karen. Thank you for telling us. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, sorry about that, mom. Sorry. I don't know what that is either. It sounds like I hear someone else talking.
Right.
Could
So
it be my?
It may be. Sometimes we have a lot of glitches. Sometimes we call them gremlins.
Let me turn this off and see. All right. Can you guys hear me?
yes, ma'am.
I think that's right. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
No problem.
As long as you can hear me.
Yeah, it sounded like whenever we would start talking, somebody was like in the background talking.
Yeah. It might have just been my headphones. I'm hard of hearing. So that's I try to wear headphones so I can hear.
I got you.
But we're good.
Well, some of the prettiest places that I've ever been to in my whole life are in Appalachia. I used to camp up in Boone, North Carolina. I used to do a lot of hiking in the Appalachian trails and things like that. And I mean, there's and I used to think, when you're younger, when a guide or something tells you that, if something whistles at you, don't whistle back, no, you didn't. If something calls your name, no, it didn't, and you always think those are the wives' tales, but there's a very strong belief in Appalachia
Mm-hmm.
that's different than any other place I've ever seen.
Yeah.
What makes the energy there so different?
That is so multi-layered. I mean, so you've got some of the oldest land in the area, so there's a lot of that. Then you have there was a lot of natives living in that area, where I'm from in Murphy, North Carolina. It's Cherokee tribe land is all around. And then also the Appalachia Mountains were settled by the Scots, the Scott Irish people. And they came with all their own, fairy tales and all their belief system. And so I think that the Appalachians just have some old, wise truth to them. My husband's family, that's born and raised multi-generation Appalachians, they'll sit and talk to you about everything. They just don't do it around their pastor. We don't discuss it around the pastor, but the preacher man. But that's just in their roots. It's in their blood. And I mean, I honestly don't know why the energy is as thick as it is in the mountains. I can't be very far from the mountains. I love to be in them. My energy is like upgraded when I'm near the mountains. And you got the beauty, you got the nature, you got the running water through the mountains. It just creates its own vortex, is the easiest way to say it.
It's absolutely beautiful there. I mean, we were on a hiking trip one day and it seemed like it just was never going to end. And we're like, man, you know, how long does it take us, man? It seems like we were hiking for 4 or 5 hours, you know, to get to a place. And once we did, it came to a flat rock clearing and it overlooked where a waterfall. Oh man, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful there. And it makes it worth it when you go there. And I've always been curious about the energy because we have run into some strange people in that neck of the woods too.
Oh yeah.
We have run into some strange people. Now, I'm from South Carolina and everything. And listen, now I'm not making fun of the way anybody talks because, you know, we got Gwen over here. She's got her own language that she speaks over there too, you know.
I'm very
And
Southern.
yeah, but there's a difference in Southern and the way that the people in Appalachia talk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not it's kind of like a mixture between Boomheimer, Gwen, and man, I don't even know. I can't even describe it anymore, man. But
It sounds a lot like Cajun-ish. It's got a
kind of like we ran into a guy at a gas station, and he's standing there with straw in his mouth, and this is exactly how he sounded to us. He said, he goes, "Where y'all coming from right here?" And I'm like, "Excuse me?" He's like, yeah, you know, where are you coming up around here? And I'm like, are you asking me where did we come up around here or what, you know? And he said, "But what you don't understand what I'm saying?" And I'm like, no, you know, I don't.
There's a different dialect throughout the Appalachian Mountains. The Southern Appalachians have a different dialect, and I think a lot of it comes from. You have to understand. I have a mixture of culture. My mom's people were from Florida, and my grandfather was Scottish, so she had Floridian and then Scottish, and then my father had the Appalachians and New Orleans. His mom was born and raised in New Orleans for generations, and so I had this very mixed upbringing and a lot of deep South roots and beliefs that were mixed in with the Appalachian stuff. But my husband is born and raised Appalachian Mountains through and through, and they speak different, and it just depends on which part of the Appalachians you're in, and and I think a lot of it does go back to the Scottish Gaelic, because a lot of them again are Scot-Irish. And I think the Gaelic, when you listen to a Scottish person speak Gaelic, you're like, what? What did you just say? And so I think it just all got kind of combined into how they talk now. So
It's funny how you say that because I live in the Low Country, and I'm from the Low Country here in South Carolina, and I'm around all the sea islands. We're actually below sea level here.
mm-hmm.
We're below sea level, and we have Gullah here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever heard somebody speak Gullah, but it's a mixture of like Cajun,
Mm-hmm.
French. Then they have their own to where they speak they speak Gullah, and but then they have it to where they mix it together.
Mm-hmm.
And you got some people that sound like they'll say, you know, boy, I seen you up the road quick, boy. you know, and it's like, all right, all right. And I've always wondered, I'm like, you know, I was never blessed, I don't think, with a lot of like too heavy of an accent, you know, and things like that. But now my mom, on the other hand, if my mom came on here, hey,
Mama, he's talking about you.
she goes, what you talking about, baby?
Well, I don't think Appalachia accent has thrown me off that much because, like I said, my dad's family was part of them were born and raised in New Orleans, so I had a lot of Cajun. And I don't
Yeah.
understand a word they were saying, but my great uncles would call my dad, talk to him. The first thing they get on the phone, they go, "Hey," and I'm like, "Here, Dad, it's Uncle Alfie. You talk to him."
And they can probably, and that's the thing I've also noticed too, like they can understand each other better than anything. And it's like, and you know, you kind of feel awkward when you're around a situation like that because it's like everybody else can understand what they're saying except for you.
Yeah.
Your mama's saying I'm not that bad.
Mom.
It's okay.
I
do
never
say-
I never said anything about you being bad, Mom. See, you guys see right there.
She says, I love my Angie says, I love my mother-in-law's accent. She should be a storyteller. See?
Oh, she definitely could be. She definitely could be. It may take her a little longer to tell a story, but it's well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about your paranormal team that you have going on. Like, do you work solo or do you have your own team that you work with and everything?
So Appalachia Lightworker Paranormal is me. I had people that I was working with, and I have come to the understanding. Again, it depends on who's around you and what energy you're trying to create. So I partner with my lovely ladies. One just said hi earlier, Teresa. They're with Tennessee Ghouls is the name of their group. They just started their group name and all that, but we've been out quite numerous times together. That's who I go out with majority of the time. But we have had some great experiences together and enjoy working together.
That's great. That's great. You know, my wife and I, we tried to bring some people in to outer realms to come on, and we went to a residential investigation with one of my nurses at the house, and it turned out just a mess. It was so unorganized. They were they were they were messing with my equipment. They were moving my equipment after I put it places. I mean, it was a mess.
Yeah.
And I told them after, I said, look, I can't do this anymore. The only one that I really trust on investigations and I rely on is my wife.
Mm-hmm.
We know each other. We are very familiar with how each other works, you know, especially if I'm going into a situation to where the family is already affected. The last thing that they need is a bunch of confusion coming from a team that comes in because you chose to bring people in that you are not familiar or too familiar with working with you with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing with my I
guess my co-team, you could say, with Tennessee Ghouls is that we have an understanding that sometimes I'm going to go do a residential to do a cleansing, or I might step out and do something, and they don't have to give me permission, or they don't have to be there with me why that's happening. It's we applaud each other, right? And we say, go ahead, go do that, go do your thing. And then also when we're out together and I say, hey guys, I really feel like I need to pray, or I need to do this energy just doesn't feel right. There's no battle there. It's no it's just, okay, Alishah, let's do that. If that's the way you're feeling led to do, let's do that. Because my goal is, even as an investigator, isn't just to collect evidence and to have cool videos to show, which I that's okay. That part of it's okay. But my whole goal in doing this is helping the energy, whether
Right.
a soul needs to have its story told, or they need to be able to move forward, or just anything. Even paranormal is just so multi-layered energy, but whatever it may be, I have a job that I have to do while I'm there. That's the way I feel. I have a mission. It's part
Yeah,
of why I'm here, and I don't need somebody's ego getting in the way of that. So that's
yeah,
why
no
I have
kidding.
come more choosy. But the lovely ladies over at Tennessee Ghouls and I have found a place that I have people around me that are protecting me, and also going, yes, go do what you need to do, instead of trying to pull me back or anything like that. So
So let would you mind if we can talk about some of your stories that you have told? I think our audience would love to hear, about some of your experiences and some of the things. Now, you and I talked before, neither one of us really like to talk about cases and things like that, but I know you've probably got a lot of stories that you can tell that could explain a lot about not only who you are, but what you do and deal with.
yeah,
So if you don't mind, we'd love to hear some.
yeah. So being from the Appalachian Mountains, we still have a house there in North Carolina on my husband's family land, and that's I always say, Creator gave me my husband. There's so many reasons I have my husband. He's an amazing man. So supportive. But when I started this journey of helping souls that were not attached to a body heal, started with my husband's family members coming. Oh, that's Miss Dabby with Tennessee Ghouls. Hi, Miss Dabby. Anyways, I would give visits. And so I got a visit one evening from this soul, and he wanted me to go over to his family's home place there and to help with healing the family line. And so the original person of this um, owner of this land was not a good person. He had done a lot of bad things in the community and to people, and it kept a negative energy over the entire family that was from this homeland, or from this home place. And so I went over there, and it was multi family members just standing on the front porch of this house that was falling in on itself. It was an old house in the middle of nowhere, but I could see all these people standing on the front porch, spirit souls. Um, and one was crying, and they all kind of came together, and um, you know, I listened to their story of pain and of this grief that the mother had allowed her children to be hurt by their father, who was the head of this house. That was not a good person. And she wanted me to apologize to her children for her. so that they could heal. And then there was a brother that stepped forward, and he said, I want to protect my family until the last sibling passes. So he hangs around and goes to his different siblings' houses and watches over them. And like, even his sister fell one night, and how did you get up? And she said, oh, my brother came and helped me. Even though he's passed, she said she felt him help her up. And so that was one of my very first experiences in the paranormal side of what I do. And it was all about healing. It had nothing to do with anything scary. It didn't have anything. It was just about this family wanting forgiveness and healing, and then protecting the family members that they couldn't protect when they were children. So now he wanted to come and protect his sisters, and so that was one of my first experiences. And then I later was invited again to revisit that house. And off in the distance, I saw a little girl, and she was like peeking around the tree at me. And then she would go like this. And so I was like, okay, what's happening? And we were just up there hunting crawfish and salamanders in the spring. Like, we weren't up there doing anything, and so I was like, I just kind of veered off and started following where she was going. And she was walking up a path, and every once in a while she would turn around and she would, come on. So I kept following her up, and we got to this area in the woods, and she stopped, and she put her little hand up to her mouth. I'd say she's probably about 10, maybe. She put her little hand up to her mouth, and she said, this is where we're buried. And I was like, what do you mean this is where you're buried? And so she went ahead and started telling me that there were 6 girls that had been kidnapped, not good things done to them, and then killed, and they were buried there. And then I started seeing images of them and what they had gone through. And as she was showing me this, a bunch of little souls started showing up of younger girls, and they were all standing there. And I said, but what do you want me to do? And they said, you have to make him leave so we can leave. And I was like, oh, you're talking about the person that hurt you, And so anyways, long story short, we went through weeks of clearing this energy of this heavier man that had done these bad things and had hurt these children.
So the man was still there?
Huh?
The man was still there?
Yeah, his energy was still there, even though he had passed in the 70s. His energy was still there, protecting his land and probably protecting the wrongdoings that he had done.
Right.
And so he was controlling them and not allowing them to move on, even in the afterlife, or in this process of what was happening. And I do believe that there can be enslavement in a way with souls, especially when there's an offender and the victims. And if you think about serial killers and stuff like that, they always hold on to a part of the victim. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a way of continuing the control and the manipulation of the energy. And they so even in the energy of the spirit realm, that same energy is happening. And I think because of what my mission is on Earth, I think Creator and my team goes with me into those situations and is able to balance it out somewhat so that the enslaved souls can step forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she was able to get my attention that day just because of where my energy was at with Creator and with my team.
She was able to meet you right where you are.
Yeah. And so we went through the process, and it took me a couple of weeks to really be able to go through the process of disconnecting his power from that land. And because the road is actually named after him too, so that gives him a lot of stronghold because the road is named after him, right? It's his land. And so we went. So I went through the process of cleansing his energy and telling him he was really scared about moving forward. Once I really was able to get to a position to talk to him, he was scared of moving forward because of what he had done. He was scared of judgment. He was scared of hell. And so we had to go through a whole process with that. And then when we did that, I was able to get through that with him. The little girls just ran up into the house and they like had a little party in the house, but they started to go off by themselves. They like came together and they were there with each other having a little party that they were able to take control of the house, right? Had their little party, and then I just watched their little souls move on. And I didn't even have to do anything. They just kind of did their own thing.
You
That's
took the matter
that's
Michael,
amazing.
Shane can't see, so I'm gonna read this out if that's cool. Do you think Michael, and I always say his name wrong, so do you think that puts a bullseye on you and other spirits as a person to go to? Oh yeah, recognizing you as somebody to go to.
Yeah.
And
So with that, is that because they can sense and they can know that you can see them and they can see you?
Yeah. And I think that's where when you have the gift, so let me explain this. I think everybody has gifts. I think everybody is intuitive. I think everybody has the ability to see different forms of energy. It's just if you're allowing yourself to get to that point. And I think that takes a lot of healing and cleansing to be able to raise your vibration, your frequency, to be able to get to the point of being able to see, hear, know all those things. Now we might all have similar gifts and ours might work a little bit differently, but I think everybody has the ability. It's just, are you going to shift yourself into the energy to be able to do that? Okay. As an intuitive, I think being able to see spirits helps them, and being able to hear their story in a way that maybe they can't get enough energy themselves to say over a spirit box or something like that, it helps the situation. And I do think when they see somebody come in that's gifted, they get excited, and it can get overwhelming because they're so excited that there's somebody that can hear them, see them, and can tell their story. I also think that it can target the darker side too, as far as the heavier side might see you as a threat. And so you kind of have to break through the walls of that to be able to help them, or to tell them they have to leave if it's an entity.
So have you dealt a lot with that darker side of that energy?
Yeah. So even as a child, I saw things in people that were of what we would consider darker nature. I believe that it is, again, part of my mission to help things move forward, and to help things heal, even if that's something darker in nature, a soul, or an entity, to lessen their grip on the situation. I'm trying to describe this. But I've been in situations with darker energy my entire life because I think it's my job. And that's why I call myself a light worker, because I think it's part of my mission to step in with the light and say, no, you no longer have power here. whatever draws you here, you don't have power over it anymore. It's time for you to leave, and to
That's
cut that
because you're
cord
so
and no
positive.
longer.
Yeah, you're so positive. You have this beautiful light, and
Yeah.
you do. I told Shane that. I said I would love to have her on because she's such a great soul. You're a
Yeah,
beautiful soul.
her aura around her. I see auras,
Mhm.
and your aura around you is beaming.
Yeah. Well,
So
I think that darkness can't hide it can't hide anymore when a light comes in the situation, and so I have to be able to be in a situation like that with people I can trust so I can be the light in the situation. And that's what I was telling you earlier before we came on live. I was in a situation where I was not with the people that were there to support me and to support the situation. Um, and I was able to be attacked that night. And it took me 3 days to really come back from that fully. And but it taught me I'm not going to go out with people that do not have the intentions of allowing what needs to take place. And I need to have people that are supporting me and my energy as I go in and not fighting it, not combating it. So I think I don't know. Maybe I don't know if this is a time or place, but I'm just going to share it because I feel like it. But I feel like there's a lot of jealousy in the field.
Yeah.
And that's not why I'm here. I'm
100%.
not here to prove that I'm better or that you're better. And I don't want to have any kind of that energy. And that's not my goal in all of this. Like I said earlier, I think everybody's intuitive. I think everybody has gifts. It's just, are you going to allow yourself to heal and grow and get to the point that your gifts are really bright and substantial? I've had to work really hard to get to where I'm at. And I have gone through a lot of life battles that I haven't allowed to keep me down. And yes, that is because of who created me and who is within me. But it also has a lot to do with what I have allowed to work through me. And so at the same time, as Appalachia Gypsy Healing Arts, my goal is to pull you into that light with me and to be shining bright also. That's my job. That's my mission on that side. And Appalachia Lightworker Paranormal, my goal is to bring light and healing into the places that need it.
That's amazing.
And I've even had them beg me. I've walked into a room and they say, open it, please open it so we can. They've actually begged for me to open it so that they could leave, like open the space so they could leave. And so, again, I've learned a lot through seeing dark energy. And I believe that there are souls. So souls were once attached to a human body. This is the way that I kind of put it up in my mind. Souls were attached to a human body at some point. Spirits are higher dimensional beings. There are spirit guides, angels, things like that. And then there are entities, and entities are the opposite of the higher frequency beings. And then within those, I believe that there are layers, like there's minions, and then there's higher intelligent ones, and things like that. So I think a soul can present itself as dark, but it's really just a wounded, bound soul. It's not technically an entity. And that is what actually left me, that attacked me, and that I was down for a few days because of what he had done in life. Affected me when I saw what he had done. Had I been around people that were supportive of me, I probably could have stayed in that situation and helped him process so he could move forward. But I didn't have the support around me that I needed to be able to move forward with that. I'll shut up now.
No. This is so interesting because it's so important, that people hear this because you can get affected, and I have seen people not only get heavy attachments to them, but I have seen paranormal teams go into a situation where they have done a residential and gone in and just did the investigating and had no idea how to properly help the family and help what's going on. And some of those teams aren't even together anymore because it just completely broke them up.
Mhm. But I do feel like that's another part of my mission with Lightworker Paranormal is to help people have better understanding as investigators so that they can be protected themselves, and then also how they can help in the situations they're going into. Even though I've not been an investigator per se for a long period of time, I have been within the spiritual, paranormal, frequency, energy world for over a decade now, and actually my entire life because of how the gifts that I do have. And so I feel that I have things to bring to the table to help others. And that's why I do what I do.
Well, how young were you when you actually figured out that you had these gifts like that?
3. I was 3 years old. I was 3 years old when I
Was it
saw my
your
first angel
imaginary
and
friend?
I'm sorry?
Was it your imaginary friend according to everybody else around you?
No, they were my protector. Um, I used to think it was Jesus. Um, and then as I have grown and developed, I realized that it was one of my spirit guides that is now with me. And so that was my first experience with a higher dimensional being. And then I also, around the age 3, I had my first experience with a demonic entity. So,
At 3 years old?
mm-hmm,
Wow,
yeah.
what happened there?
It was I was at church, and
I had one. I had one at church too.
yeah. So I was raised very Southern Baptist or fundamental Baptist or fundamental Christian. And so I knew from a very young age that what I saw, I was taught from a very young age that what I saw wasn't a good thing, and I just didn't need to mess with it. And that, so I didn't really talk to people about it, because who I did talk about it naysayed it a lot. But there was this girl in church, and I was just sitting there, and she just turned around. Her eyes were completely black, and she spit on me.
Oh.
And I just looked at her and I said, "You're not nice and you need to leave." And she just turned back around. And she went later on in that service, she went into a seizure and they had to take her out. And so part of me, and this is where you go into the whole energy and frequency thing, was she mentally ill? And that's what I saw, or was the demonic force that was inside of her creating that energy? And but that was my first time, and it went on from there. We had girls in our church that were messing with witchcraft rituals and stuff like that, and they all came in to a sleepover, and they all had things attached to them that I saw. and I didn't know what to do with it. I just saw these dark men standing behind them. And at that time, I didn't know what to do with what I was seeing because nobody was teaching me. So eventually it turned off because I was scared of it because I wasn't being told what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's another thing too is you know, you don't know who has gone into some of these locations. You don't know what they've done in their families, whether they are drug addicts or alcohol, or they play with the Ouija board, or they play with witchcraft, or anything like that. So you really have to ground and protect yourself before and after you go into these situations because they can affect you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I try to tell people that all the time. And that's one of my missions. I started this podcast, this bridging the seen and unseen. I started this to bridge the gap between paranormal and clergy
Mm-hmm.
because I was a pastor and I would have real families coming into church and they had real problems, real issues. And the only thing that were told to them was, oh, we'll put you and your family on the prayer list. And then that's the last. Some people need actual boots on the ground, like help in their families. And they just were not equipped to really help these families.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I stepped down, I stepped in the spiritual warfare ministry. And the reason why I really stepped into spiritual warfare is I had a dream one night that I was walking a white picket fence. And on the side that I was on, was God and all his angels. And on the other side was Satan and all his demons. And they screamed across and I yelled at Satan and all his demons. I said, you see, I'm on God's side. And the devil laughed at me and he says, but I own the fence.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how close you are, no matter how close that you say you are to God, if your life isn't a walking testimony and your faith isn't built up strong enough behind it, then you're exactly right. You are walking the fence, and that's exactly what the devil has. The devil's got the fence that you're on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I got my calling in the spiritual warfare ministries. And I knew that I would be dealing with things that weren't so nice, but I accepted that because there are people out there that need real help, that need real understanding, that need real clarity, that need to understand what true grounding, true protection, true clearing, true cleansings, what those are, when it comes to investigating. And, I want to be a bridge, to not only help teams, but to help families with the process of everything that's going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
No, it does totally.
Alishah, we're coming up on an hour here. Alishah, can you please tell everybody how? And but first, I want to thank you for coming on, and thank you so much. I can talk to you for hours upon hours upon hours. And that's honestly, that's 9 out of 10 podcasts that we have. And we always want to keep going. We always want to have, so that just lets me know right here that you and I, lady, we have to have a round 2. So if you don't mind, we can do that.
Yeah.
But if you can tell everybody how to get a hold of you, your pages, YouTube, whatever you have, just whatever, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah. That's Teresa. Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah, let me read it to Shane. I know he can't see it because he's on the phone. She's Teresa McCarthy. Wilkie McCarthy said the light you see in Alishah. Am I saying it right? Alishah.
Alishah.
Okay.
Alishah.
Yeah, there you go. Is 100% who she is. She is the porch light on for souls who need to be heard and helped. She has endless amounts of positivity and knowledge. As a part of Tennessee Ghouls, it is a true honor to be associated with her, and we learn from her daily. She is an amazing storyteller, healer, and probably the most positive light I've ever known. That's beautiful.
That's it. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. That just gives more clarity on what we all feel with her already. But go ahead, tell people how to get a hold of you.
So the easiest thing is just to follow me on Facebook at Appalachia Gypsy Healing Arts or Appalachia Lightworker Paranormal. And from those pages, you'll find I share things from the other ones. So yeah, just follow me on Facebook. All my information's there, my emails, even a phone number to text me if you need to reach out to me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Again, Alishah, thank you so much for coming on. It has been a pleasure speaking with you. I feel you and I could have some pretty in-depth conversations, and I'd really like to do that. So let's set up for round 2 somewhere to where we can come on and do this again.
Sounds good, Shane. Thank you so much.
All right. You have a blessed night, okay?
You too. Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
Thank you,
All right.
Glenn.
You.
Well, guys, Appalachian Gypsy Healer right there, and that's she is an amazing person. And if you guys are not familiar with her, if you're not, please go check out her pages. Go say hey to her. Go tell her you saw her on this podcast.
Yes,
and
please.
she's such a good woman, and she's got so much good energy going in. But I thank you guys for coming on. I thanks for all the comments. Tennessee Ghouls, thank you for coming on. Thank you for the comments that you made. You put a lot of clarity into what we already feel about her anyway. But we thank you for not only being her friend, but having the faith in her that she truly deserves, because she really is the definition of a light worker. And we thank you guys so much for coming on. And you guys have a good week. I've got a good one coming on next week too, that I've had on many times. But you guys be safe out there, be blessed always, and stay spooky, people. Peace.